Jesus is finished inflicting the tribulation wrath on planet Earth and on all the unsealed earth dwellers. Notice that this event was at night. This is not the second coming, which occurs at the break of day in Jerusalem. This is referenced in Psalms 46 chapter verses 5 through 6, which states, God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, and the earth melts. That is why Jesus is called the bright morning star, analogous to the planet Venus, which is seen brightest at daybreak. Further discussion on the little horn is noted in Daniel 7 verses 21 through 22, which states, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and the judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. This is the second reference in Daniel's 7th chapter, which tells us clearly that the judgment of the saints occurs after the Antichrist is revealed. This clearly contradicts the deception of a pre-tribulation rapture. 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 1 through 8 certainly harmonizes with Daniel's vision, stating, the day of the Lord and our being gathered up to him will not occur until the rebellion takes place and the man of lawlessness is revealed. The preterists of today tend to believe that the little horn already came in the personage of Caesar Nero or Herod the Great or Antiochus Epiphanes, and that most of these end times prophecies were fulfilled at 70 AD. Clearly, Jesus did not return to judge the saints in 70 AD as Daniel's prophecy would necessitate. So the preterists have a big dilemma here. The return of Christ will be a miraculous future event that will be visible to the whole world. Matthew 24th chapter verses 29 through 31 explains this future cataclysmic event. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the nations will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory, and he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So the world didn't come to an end in 70 AD, and the rapture is certainly not a silent event. It is earth-changing, and all the world will see. The Antichrist is further discussed in Daniel 7 verse 25. He will speak against the Most High and oppress his saints and try to change the set times and the laws. The saints will be handed over to him for times and a half a time. So Antichrist will dominate the saints for 3.5 years until the Lord returns and judges the saints. Daniel 7 verse 26 continues, but the court will sit, and his power will be taken away and completely destroyed. This certainly tells us that Antichrist reigns until the courts of the righteous judgment are set up. So the rapture occurs near the end of tribulation, when the judgment of the saints occurs. A pre-tribulation rapture view again contradicts Daniel's vision, since Christ's return and judgment of the saints do not occur before the tribulation begins. A pre-tribulation rapture would also mandate the saints wait in heaven for 7 years before their judgment. One has to remember, clothes are given at the judgment of the saints. Revelation 19 chapter verse 8 notes, fine linen bright and clean was given her to wear. Fine linen stands for the righteous acts of the saints. This clothing is given as a reward to the righteous in judgment, and that will occur at the 7th trumpet. So if a pre-tribulation rapture were true, this would mandate those raptured saints be naked in heaven for 7 years. Yet the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians 5th chapter verses 1 through 3 states, we will not be found naked in our heavenly dwelling.